All right, Shalom Israel. Giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakah Kadash. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostle, elders, bishops, the great millstone. Much salutations to the brothers seeking word for the hopeful elect soon to be like the Most High will. Hopeful, extended elect Shalom blessings. It's a cold case, and about a 12-year-old girl killed her 8-year-old cousin over a fight for an iPhone. And, in my opinion, I would have gave her mercy, man. She seemed like she was sincere, and I don't know if they probably, I think they charged her as an adult. But this is backwards ass hell born America that we live in. Faggot ass America that we live in. And it's the wicked authority, the wicked rule. That's why the people are mourning. But I'm going to show you a little clip. And I think this went viral. That's the little girl right there. That's her mother, I guess.
It's heartbreaking that a 12-year-old girl, K-I-L-L, her 8-year-old cousin over a cell phone. On the night of the 17th, they were sleeping in bunk beds in a room at her grandmother's house. The 12-year-old girl covered her 8-year-old cousin Demelia's head with a pillow and a sheet until she became unresponsive. The little girl's name is Demaria, and this horrific act was captured on surveillance video. You can see her wiping Demelia's body and face with a tissue after her cousin was not breathing. She even moved Demelia's body to make it look like she was sleeping so she wouldn't be noticed. The next morning, when Grandma noticed
That's what people do when they want to hide what they grown people do that too. So, who cares about that part?
The surveillance video. That's when she saw the 12-year-old torturing her 8-year-old cousin with pillows, blankets, quilts, and anything she could find, all because of an iPhone. Demaria is charged with first-degree murder.
And I know tears could be deceiving.
You can see her wiping Demelia's body and face with a tissue after her cousin was not breathing. She even moved.
She's only 12 in America years, because America dumbs everybody down.
When Grandma noticed something unusual, she watched the surveillance video. That's when she saw the 12-year-old torturing her 8-year-old cousin with pillows, blankets, quilts, and anything she could find, all because of an iPhone. Demaria is charged with first-degree.
Now she's charged with, I guess, first-degree murder. If a mentally ill psychopath in America can be acquitted or forgiven for mentally being ill and rehabilitated somehow in one of these facilities, then they should have done that for this little girl. But fuck boy America. And Most High is gonna get y'all's asses. But there's a such thing as accidental. It doesn't say accidental, but I'm gonna read this scripture, and I'll get that word too for it. I think it's Deuteronomy 19. I'll read one. When the Lord thy God hath, I'm reading verbatim, cut off the nations whose land the Lord thy giveth thee, and thou succeedest them and dwellest in their city, in their houses, thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee in the midst of thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it. Thou shalt prepare thee a way and divide the coast of thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and to inherit into 3 parts, and every slayer may flee thither. And in the case of the slayer which shall flee thither, he may live, whoso killeth his neighbor ignorantly, whom he hated not in the past. So I looked up that word ignorantly, and it gave me, well, not aware. I looked it up in the blue letter. and one of them was not aware. I think it was Bala. It says, as when a man goeth into the wood with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetcheth a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slippeth from the helve, and lighteth upon his neighbor, and he die, he shall flee into one of those cities and live. Lest the avenger of the blood pursue the slayer, like his family or someone, while his heart is hot, and overtake him, because the way is long, and slay him, whereas he was not worthy of death, inasmuch as he hated not him in the past, not in time past. For I command thee, saying, thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee. And giving a hair so if a man hate his neighbor, jump to 11, and lie in wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him mortally that he die, like he hate him, he meant to do this, and fleeth into one of these cities, what will happen to him? Then the elders of the city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him to the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. I shall not pity him, but thou shalt put away the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with thee. So, that lets you know the wicked are in authority, and the mother screaming and doing all this. She's the reason why these little girls are acting like this, man. Fighting over that. This bitch would have done the same thing. These grown ass, demonic ass bitches be doing the same thing, killing over a cell phone. Grown ass men do the same thing. I'm talking about grown ass men that know better. But these ratchet ass women keep raising these children, and that's what they do. So you be like, well, you see little kids act up and out of order. You be like, where are the parents? Even in America, first of all, the father is out the house. You see the father, they never show the father, because the father, she kicked him out. Now she's, she didn't. You see how they treat their daughters. A lot of these women, black women, how they treat their daughters, cussing at them and bitch, and call them, they'll even call them a bitch, or just nasty, man, and they're held not accountable. And it's spirits, evil spirits in these black women's houses, man. That's why these little girls act like this, But if you have an argument, and they call it blacking out, and you have an argument and act out of anger, which, if you're a wise man, if there was wisdom in this house with the woman, this would have never happened. If the father was in the house, this probably would have never happened. But if there's abidance, and obedience to Yahweh Yahushai, this wouldn't have happened. So, there's a house full of spirits, man. And she getting on a. I don't know if that was the other girls. They're both sisters. I guess that's what their mother. I don't know if that was the auntie or mother, whatever. But whatever the case is, these black women are really out of order them damn selves, man. They're imitating what they see, and it's a proverb like that. Like, so as the mother, so shall the daughter be. But I would have considered this like she was mad. She acted out of you know uh, whatever case was it was to be that angry to be like okay ooh I siblings get on each other's nerve all the time, man. You know, um, brothers fight each other all the time. Sisters fight each other all the time, even when they're grown. I'm talking about worldly, you know, jakes all the damn time. It just never escalates to that point, But it could. It easily could. In a lot of situations, it have. It has, you know, with different stories. Uh, but you know, this young girl, she could have definitely been rehabilitated through, counseling and you know, uh, through counseling. It says without where there's no counsel, the people fall. You know, and you see how her mother. I mean, when you around women, it's a lot of emotional ass shit. That's why nothing goes right. That's why nothing. That's why men that subject themselves to women, they act emotional. Before they think with logic, and a lot of them end up being killed or go to jail. Acting out emotions, man. They're supposed to be thought and logic first before you act. So I bet her mother act the same way when she on the phone. Nigga, you need to pay my money. I don't give a fuck. Yelling and shit, you know. Or her sister then came over, her cousin came over, her so-called friend, and they didn't got into a fight, and the girls witnessed that. Kind of is not so much reminds me of it, but it was a case that I talked about twin girls that were living with their grandmother because their mother was partying and all that. So I think it came to be about 2 years they had been living with their grandmother, and then the mother finally wanted them back under her care, you know. And of course, the man was on a job trip. I think he drove trucks, so he wasn't there. And they would go back and forth, argue because the mother was being strict, wouldn't let them do what grandma did, let them do, and so they were like, well, why I think these girls were like 13, 14 years old, maybe 16. And they said, well, why were you know, why are you trying to be all controlling and you didn't want us anyway, and at that time you were partying and all that. Now you trying to, now when we want to go out or we want to do things, you want to try to keep us from those things, the same things that you were doing, And I don't think their mother did drugs, but I think she was just partying hard, you know. So, that struck a nerve in them that bothered them. So they'll get in a fight every now and then with their mother. And I don't think it was too long after they had moved back with their mother that incident happened that led to their mother's death, which they got into an argument like a usual thing. And then, it just got so heated they in the kitchen and their mother grabbed a knife and they grabbed a pan, something like that, and they pretty much jumped their mother. Now that was way out of line, But of course, they're not taught moral structure in the house. They don't. They're not taught to think with logic. So I'm not justifying the girls, uh, but to know a backstory, you gotta say, well, damn. You gotta go back to the mother and ask her questions if she had still been alive to answer. And it's probably not so good on her part either. Like, yeah, I was partying too much. I should have cared for him more. Did this, and I wasn't there. And I know why, they're mad at me and they got a right to be mad at me, but they didn't have to do this. And they didn't. But, you know, gotta call the kettle what it is, man. I mean, that would have never set in play I feel if she had, then now these kids, they are like, you know, they are getting out of order. They are out of hand. Um, they are, but best believe there's something wrong in the household. Now, a lot of them go to school and they learn from their friends. They learn from, you know, other peers and all that. And it kind of influences them to do things. Even this social media, I mean, come on, man. They'll let them watch fucking Sukihana and Sexy Red all damn day with their ratchet attitude. But then when they, act it out, they got a problem. You're the ones that let them watch the social media all damn day, man. What do you think they're gonna do? You imitate life. So that is a thing, man. Influence is a thing. Seduction is a thing. It actually it says that in the scriptures, man. The heathen seduces our people. To do wrong. Israel launches strikes against. So I gotta do a video on that. Yeah, we at the brink of Third World War. But anyway, and she didn't have no evil look in her eyes. She's scared. I'm pretty sure she didn't mean to kill her sister. Some people are evil. They are evil like that. They hate their own brother. They hate their own sister. But in this case, I don't think she did. Just by her body language and the way she responds and the conviction that I saw in her eyes, I don't think I think it's sincere, man. But anyway, and she's, like I said, she's 12 years old. And in America, dumbed down ass America, that's a baby. I know we often say, well, you become a young woman and a young man into your, but that's why it says dwell with them according to knowledge in the Bible. Because a lot of these people in America are dumb the hell down. And somebody said in the comments, well, what about Germany? Germany is not the same with America. And a lot of countries on the other side are more advanced in America when it comes to morals, I would say, in my opinion. So you can't compare America to Germany, America to any other country. America is a fuck boy country, a fuck bitch country, a watered down, immoral, sodomite country, man. And it's all the way backwards, man. It's all the way backwards. It's a spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, like it says in the scriptures. In Babylon, great confusion. Daughter of Babylon, the harlot that promotes harlotry. So anyway, it kind of this system is not, this system need a damn makeover. The judges are not, the right judges are not in place. That's why this devil's about to go down. And it reminds me of that other incident too a while ago with the little boy wrestling with his I don't know, I think his sister, he didn't understand his body weight. It was either his cousin or some, I think the other child was a girl, and he accidentally killed her. And they charged him as an adult, but he was, he was imitating a wrestling move that he saw on wrestling. And I think he was just about the same age, 12 years old. Now, in the scriptures, that's a young man. In America, that's a little that's a little boy. Because when they don't raise America don't raise black boys to be young men and to eventually become men. They don't. You know, that's why you got grown ass niggas walking around with doing stupid shit. Uh, you know, continue to cut their beards and wanting to look young as possible, and you know, uh, catering to women, and you know, getting emotional, and you know, living with their mother still, you know, or women still. You know what I'm saying? And not wanting to do anything. You know, it's not a situation to them. It's actually just because they don't want to do shit in life. And that's the kind of people, kind of citizens America raises. You know, um, you know what's out there, man. Fast foods. You know, lazy people, people that don't want to work. You know, uh, ghetto mentality. You know, and then Jake got a problem with you know, people in the ghetto. We've suffered. We know what the ghetto is. We know what the hoods are, and it promotes death. So, you know, it's all wicked, man. That's why the missiles. You might as well say the missiles are on their way, man. You know, you might as well say that. And Third World War is here, and the MOTB. You might as well say it's here, because this stuff is about to go belly up, man. And like it said in the scriptures, let's Most High save the remnant, and for the elect's sake, we would have all been like Sodom and Gomorrah, man. And you could see that right before your eyes, you know. But anyway, we need righteous judges in place, man. You know, not these devils. But things are gonna turn. Most High gonna turn the tables, man. Anyway, Shalom. Hope it's edifying.